Welcome to the Spartan Sports Podcast. My name is Thomas, and today I am joined by
Carter Fry,
Darren Baydoun,
Tyler Castillo,
and Zachary Lockerman.
All right, boys. How are we doing today?
doing
living
pretty
life,
well.
baby.
pretty good.
Living life, you know.
Have we been watching sports, keeping up with stuff?
A little bit here and there, as normal.
All
My
right.
tw-
Super Bowl on
Twitter-
Sunday.
My Twitter feed does most of it for me, but yeah.
You love to hear it. All right, let's just get into the nitty-gritty right away. All-Star Game, NBA. The NBA is planning on having it in March 7th. Voting has begun. They have their 2-for-1 days, and there are going to be snubs. There are going to be surprises. Who do we think is starting for the East?
So for the East, I have KD, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo starting in my front court. I personally don't think there should be any debate there, but I'll hear everyone out if they have their argument to make. And then the guards, these were really tough for me. I have Harden starting, even though he's had a limited season with the Nets. And then this might have been the toughest spot on the whole list, but I'm giving my second guard spot to Jaylen Brown. I think he deserves it. He's had a huge year. I think if Kyrie had played more games and hadn't had his little outbursts and hanging out at maskless parties and stuff, he'd be in that starting role, but I'm thinking he's going to come off the bench, and I give it to Jaylen.
Yeah, Darren?
Well, for the East, the front court is basically the same. I think probably the top three guys in MVP voting in the East this year are probably going to be in some order: Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, and Giannis. So I think that's pretty much a formality. In the backcourt, one of the spots I believe, and I actually was relieved to see that it seems like the early fan voting is definitely pushing this. I'm giving one of the starting spots in the backcourt to Bradley Beal. Leading the league in scoring at 34 points a game. Yes, the Wizards suck. They do. They're a bad team, but I don't know how much he averaged 30 points a game last year, and he didn't even make the team, or he didn't make an All NBA team. Which it's just, I don't know how much you could punish a guy who's just going out there and doing everything he possibly can, all the while leading the league in scoring efficiently. Being as one of the best scorers in the league. So I think, yes, are the Wizards a bad team? But Bradley Beal is more than deserving of an all-star spot. And at the other guard, you could argue a player like Malcolm Brogdon is possibly deserving, considering the kind of year he's had in Indiana. He's had a really good year, 22 points a game, shooting over 40% from three. But if we're going to base this on who the fans are probably going to vote in, it's probably going to be Kyrie. So I'll go with Kyrie. It's not that he's not – yes, he did have the let's call it sabbatical that he took not that long ago. But ever since he's came back, I mean, he has been gangbusters for the Nets. And him and KD and Harden, they have actually looked like they have been gelling overall pretty well. Obviously, defense is going to be a concern for them. But, he's putting up as good – in terms of when he's played, he's put up as good of numbers as he's put up his entire career. And – we know the fans are going to want to see him. So if I got predicted based on who's definitely going to be in the spot, I think Kyrie will be there. So yeah, East starting five: Kyrie, Bradley Beal, Giannis, KD, Joel Embiid.
Tyler?
Yeah. So I don't know how, but I completely forgot about Joel Embiid when I was doing this.
He's
and
the
I
MVP, man.
I know. He's having a crazy year. So my front court is definitely KD, Giannis, and then Embiid. And then my back court.
Who did you have besides Embiid initially?
I don't want to say.
What,
Say
Bam?
it. I want to know. Is it Bam?
No,
Is it
it's not.
bonus?
I didn't have a true center. I didn't have a true center.
Who was it?
Yeah, I was putting at Giannis
Tatum.
at center, KD at power forward, Tatum at small forward. That's how I was running.
Not a
it.
bad option if you forgot about it.
I can't blame. That's understandable. That's understandable.
I just don't see Tatum because he's missed so much time.
Yeah, and I also forgot that Embiid was going ballistic. I don't know how, but yeah, that completely just I stepped right over that in my mind. And then my backcourt, someone that hasn't been listed off yet, who I think is so deserving and really doesn't get recognition as a all-star as an all-star, but as a dunker more, is Zach LaVine. Like that dude is going crazy this year. I just think that if there's someone, I think it's him. And then I had Kyrie, but Carter made a good point. Like he's missed a lot of time, and like everybody knows he's just a weirdo and like takes time off whenever he wants. So I would say Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal, because I think those guys are having crazy years, and I think that if there's anyone like deserving of all-star starting spots, it's those two, like right there, because they have been busting their ass all year long.
Zachary.
All right, so I mean, I think we all have the same front court. The three best players this year in the East have definitely been Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Embiid. I'm gonna do a little bit different with the guards, though. Well, at least one different entry. Bradley Beal for my 2, and then we have Trae Young at my 1. I think he's been going crazy, and nobody has been talking about Trae Young this year. Dude's averaging like 24, 4, and like 9. I mean, that's pretty good. That doesn't mean I don't think he'll be voted in, not as a starter at least, because those 2 weirdos in Brooklyn will be. But that's who I would want to see out there, are those guys.
Yeah, I think we all have the same starting front court. For me, for my backcourt, I really considered James Harden. I considered Kyrie. I even considered Tatum as one of my front court people. But for Kyrie and Tatum, they missed so many games that I just felt it hard to justify putting them in a starting lineup. And for James Harden, he has only played a couple, like so many games in the East so far. So I didn't know if he really deserved that. So for my backcourt, I also have Bradley Beal. The guy is going crazy, and I feel really bad that he's on such a bad team, because you can see the pain in his eyes when they lose every game. And then Jaylen Brown is my other backcourt person. He's averaging 26 points. His assists have gone up to 3 after being a career like 1 assist person. So like he's starting to make plays, and he's just having a great season. You can argue that he's been Boston's best player this season just because Jason Tatum has missed so much time. He has been their best player this season. All right. So that was our East. Anyone have any disagreements, or anyone want to attack someone else for being stupid and terrible with their choices?
I will say I have acknowledged Trae Young's recent tear. I think he's averaging like 37 over his past 5 games or something like that. But man, he cannot play defense to save his life. I will give him credit that the Hawks are looking like they're going to make the playoffs for the first time in forever, and he's definitely the leading charge of that. But man, I don't think he can start if he's that bad on both sides.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that Kyrie Irving and James Harden are playing all-world defense right now. So,
dude, Harden was locking up Kawhi a little bit the other night. Did you see him in the post?
Not locking up Kawhi. Got to stop a mid-range turnaround jumper. Oh no.
Kawhi is one of the most efficient and effective scorers in today's game. I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
Kawhi is a very, very good offensive player.
He's shooting
He's very fundamental
90 right now.
I don't understand what Zach is going off with. Just because he shoots mid-range shots means he's not hard to defend.
This isn't 1992, dude. It's not 92, man. It's time to upgrade a little bit.
If anything, it makes him hard to defend, because there aren't near enough guys in the league anymore that have a mid-range game like Kawhi. And Kawhi, all he's got to do, he'll just shove you off, and he'll just hit that 16-footer all game long. Like, I mean, that's what he does.
You're right. I forgot. How could I overlook?
Zach, you're so
how
funny,
could I overlook Harden's immense defensive capabilities when he locked down whoever that guy is?
Okay, you have a point though. James Harden's not the best defender, but Carter, I also understand your point. All right. Anything else to say, gentlemen, or can I move on to the West without us arguing more?
I mean, just attack the East. They're boring. The Nets suck. I mean, that's all I got to say. We can move on.
Okay. Well, we will move on without discussing what Zach just said, because he's just wrong. Okay. Moving on to the West. All right. Carter, who's your starting 5?
All right. So had AD played to his normal level this year, I would have him in my starting 5, but he has not. So he is being delegated to the bench. So my starting front court is LeBron, Nikola Jokic, and Kawhi Leonard. And I will be very shocked if people have other answers. And then for my guards, both of these were really tough. I slid Doncic in there. He's averaging almost a triple-double. I think the Mavs definitely have some time left to make a run. I think by the time the All-Star game comes, he will have deserved his spot at the 2. And then my number 1, I was going back and forth between Dame and Steph. I couldn't really choose, but I think by the time the All-Star game gets here, Steph will have had the better season. So I think he is going to deserve it by the time the All-Star game comes around. But right now, Dame might have the edge, but I'm going Curry, Doncic, Kawhi, Bron, Jokic.
I can already tell you I have a different person in the front court.
Ooh, man, this is tough.
We'll get to me in a minute, though. Darren?
I'm excited to see who you have to say.
I was gonna say I'm excited too. Well, my front court, like with the East, is pretty much the same as Carter's. LeBron has obviously, he's right, and you can argue he's the front runner for MVP right now with the way he's played. Kawhi is having maybe his most efficient offensive season ever. Nikola Jokic is having arguably his best, the career. They're having, they're putting up, great numbers across the board. I mean, there's nothing you can go wrong. And yeah, with AD. Not having a bad year by any means, but yeah, not quite having the numbers he had last year. So yeah, he'll still be on the bench easily. The backcourt, man, it is like if I could have if we could do like a 3-way thing with like Doncic, Dame, and Steph. I mean, that would be what I prefer because it feels so hard to pick between those 3 guys based on how all the numbers they're putting up. You know what though? As much as it hurts me to do this, I'm going to differ slightly from Carter. I'm going to go with Steph and Dame as my 2 guys in the backcourt, just because, Doncic. The one thing that's concerning about Doncic, and he does take a lot of step back shots. I mean, he's shooting under 30% from 3-point range. It's a big flaw for him. Obviously, he's doing everything else well, but the Mavs, they're 4 games under 500. Obviously, not having Kristaps Porzingis for the first part of their season hurt them in that regard. But they haven't been that great. Not that that's Luka's fault, but the Warriors and the Trailblazers are both right now in a little bit better positions. And it's not as if neither Dame nor Steph are not going to be deserved, could start. I mean, Dame's averaging around 29 points a game. Steph's getting back to doing, to looking like, the old Steph Curry that, we're used to seeing and carrying the Warriors, which is, he right now, you look at in terms of what the Warriors roster is, looking at what Steph's doing for them and at least keeping them in the hunt is, amazing in that in itself. So it's hard for me to keep a guy like Luka out, but I just think Dame and Steph have been just a little bit better for me. So yeah, so that'll be my starting 5 of the list.
All righty. Tyler.
Question before I have a question for you guys before I list mine off, before I make a final decision. Would you consider starting Luka at the 3 over Kawhi?
Yeah.
If he was considered a forward?
I wouldn't consider Luka a forward.
Well,
I'm just saying he's 6'7",
but he plays point guard.
He plays
he's the
positions
got
1 through 3.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the build to play.
All right,
3,
we'll allow it. We'll allow it.
It's like LeBron. It's like saying LeBron's only a 3 or 4 when we all know he can be a 1.
Well, it's what the NBA delegates them as.
Yeah.
All right,
we'll let him do whatever he
Nope,
wants,
nope,
though.
nope,
Go ahead
nope,
and do it,
nope.
Tyler.
No,
No, you're not. Okay.
no.
Okay, follow the rules then. Be my guest.
Fine. Front court is Kawhi, LeBron, and Jokic, and then my back court I have, I don't know because I love Damian Lillard so much, but I just think that like what you guys said, we have old Steph Curry coming back. You can tell he's playing almost at the level he was when he was the unanimous MVP. He's almost there. And especially with a team with no Klay Thompson and no really additional help, you can't knock him for not having that great of he's got so much on his shoulders. It's crazy, but I don't know. I would probably go Steph and Luka, and then Dame's right there. He's just right there. It's
you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. They're all deserving. And they're all you really can't go wrong with it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it for me.
All righty. Zach, give us your starting 5 and be prepared to defend why you put Jared Dudley at your 4.
Okay.
I would just like to say real quick, I don't know if you guys are looking at the All-Star voting, but I don't know if you noticed if Klay Thompson and Carmelo Anthony are both in the number 10 spot. Why? One of them is injured, so I get it, it's a thing. But Carmelo Anthony's been terrible. That he should not be in the top 100 of this
Hey,
this vote.
have you forgotten about Zaza Pachulia almost making it? Like
You
This is
better
just like when
put-
Yao Ming made it when
You better
he
put
started
some
5
respect
games.
on Carmelo Anthony's name right now.
He's
I don't care if he's been
terrible.
horrible. You just put some respect on his
He's
name.
averaging like
What if they're
12
what if they're trying to
points.
like send him off like they did with Kobe? Like Kobe had a horrible last
He's-
season. They still
Carmelo
sent him
Anthony
off.
was never Kobe.
Carmelo ain't Kobe. I mean, come on.
Carmelo
Okay,
ain't Kobe.
yes, obviously Carmelo isn't Kobe. I'm just saying he's had an illustrious long career in the NBA.
Has he won a ring yet? I
No.
don't know. I
Stuff
wasn't
like
sure
that
if
is why they cut why they put the fan vote as only counting for 50% of the total vote for the All-Star star.
All right, okay.
That's stuff like that.
Let me
Yeah.
list. All right, so remember my list. I can guess who's going to be voted into the thing, but this is who I would want to see on the court on the All-Star game. I'll keep within the rules too. I was going to put LeBron in technically my backcourt, but I'll put him in the front court. Whatever. LeBron, Jokic, and Zion Williamson.
Do you actually? Are you kidding?
No, I'm being dead serious. Zion Williamson has been the most efficient scorer to like the first however many games of his career in like history.
he's
He can't
And-
defend.
not at all.
But he's a savage. Like
He's
what are you
getting
talking
yelled
about?
at like every single time the Pelicans are on defense
He's
because he
he's
can't
their
get
worst
out
defender.
to the wing.
He's
Listen,
the worst
No,
defender on his
no,
on the
guys,
24th ranked
guys.
defense.
Guys, he's a savage. He deserves to be a starter in the All-Star game because he's a savage.
Listen. If defense mattered, Durant, Harden, or Irving would not. They allow
Durant
100.
can play
You did not
defense.
just disrespect KD's defense.
That team allows 145 points a game. I don't want to hear about it.
No,
They also
team
have the best
sport.
offensive
KD's
efficiency.
fault.
They're missing Jared Allen.
They traded him.
Yeah, they
But
traded him.
We're not getting.
I know. Now they don't have any inside scoring. That's not on.
The point
KD,
being, I see
Kyrie
Zion, and he big boys, grown men, and I enjoy it. I want to see it in the All-Star game versus the best big boys around. Okay. That's all
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
here's the thing. I could see the fans doing that, but here's another hot take. In my opinion, right now, I don't even think Zion. Right now, he could be, but I don't even think Zion's the best player on that team.
He's not.
Brandon
Brandon
Ingram
Ingram.
is.
right now is the best.
Brandon Ingram is.
Overall, yeah. Like I
Those-
just
but- so keep in mind that my list isn't totally predicated on like who was going to be, because he's not going to be voted as a starter. I know that. I would just like to see it, to see how he does against the best guys.
Oh God, like, well, yeah. I mean, it would be a great show, and like, I mean, if he, I don't know if they've even talked about, but I mean, I feel like you have to throw everything at his feet to make him go into the dunk contest. There's no way that you cannot have a healthy Zion Williamson and not participate in the dunk contest this year. I mean, you gotta make that happen. You gotta make that.
And then for my backcourt, I was gonna go Luka, but the 3-point thing that's true. You want to spread the floor. I say send Steph out there, and you know what? Get Klay Thompson. He's 10th in voting. Get him up on that one leg and shoot some threes, brother. Let's do this.
He's not even
thing.
playing. Zach, no.
He's doing some sideline reporting though. It's very
He's
good
doing that.
journalism.
All he's got to do is
We win.
throw on some kick. All right. No, that wasn't my serious answer. My serious answer would be Steph Curry and Damian Lillard.
Okay, do you want to have a serious answer for your front court too?
LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and Zion Williamson. That's
Okay,
my. That's
all right.
All
That's,
right. Okay.
That
Because
is signed
think
and
of that-
delivered.
Think about how fire offensively that team would be. Like that would be like imagine you're stretching the floor at all the positions except for Zion, and you have Zion torturing some poor soul down in the paint, and it would be. And if he gets shut down, kick it out to one of the 4 3-point shooters that you have on your team is beautiful. I love it.
Okay.
Zach, we're
That's what I wanna see.
we're not drafting a team here. We're putting the best players in the league together.
I want to
Like,
see.
this
I
is-
want to see Zion. I want to see Zion. That's all I'm saying.
I think we all made our list with
All right.
different mindsets. I
right.
went in with who deserves it, but
No, I
too.
know that the real starting is going to be LeBron, Nikola, and Kawhi, and then Steph Curry and Luka. That's what it's going to be.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just saying that's
The
not what I wanna
directions
see.
for this was who deserves it, but okay, Zach. All right. So I had Curry, Doncic, LeBron, Jokic. I think we all have a general understanding of that. I was questioning whether I wanted to put Doncic in because I did see the 3-point shooting, but this man is also damn near a triple-double this year. So I just felt like that puts him in, even though he's not shooting well. But my 3 spot, I have Paul George. And Paul George is averaging 47% from 3 this year and is shooting 50, 40, 90 from the field this year also.
Well, Pandemic P?
Yeah, Pandemic P, playoff
Pandemic P?
Are you sure about
Okay,
that one?
all right.
I agree with
have
you
Paul
that he is
George.
100% an all-star. But a
I
starter
think that he gets the edge at starter just because of how good he's shooting it right now.
over Kawhi for you?
Just because of the way he's shooting right now, yes.
I mean, they're both shooting 50, 40, 90.
But is
Kawhi's not
Kawhi
that
shooting
much lower.
47.8
I
from
mean,
3?
it's like
He's shooting like 40. I might want to double check, but I thought he was shooting like 44 or something like that.
it's definitely become more of like it's definitely a 1A 1B situation. Like he's not Kawhi's sidekick like now. Like he's talked about it. He said he came out with a purpose this season to want to, you know, show people what he had after everything that happened in the bubble. So I mean listen, it's not shocking. The guy finished 3rd in the league in MVP voting just a few years ago. So like I mean he's more than capable of playing at like a top 15, top 10 type level. It's just, that's, but it's tough. If he were playing at the 2 guard, I might put him at the 2. I might put him at the shooting guard spot if he were playing at that position, maybe.
I don't think he will end up getting the start, but I think he deserves the start just for how well he's playing this year right now.
Yeah, I mean, Paul George, I definitely don't give him hate like a lot of people do. I think he gets just a lot of crap for no reason, but yeah, I don't know if I could start him. He's definitely an all-star though.
Oh yeah,
definitely an all-star.
Undoubtedly.
He's not a better 2-way than Kawhi, and Kawhi's a better scorer.
It's more believable than Zion Williamson. I will end it with
yeah,
that.
I'll give you that. Yep, I'll give you that.
And I'm going to throw in one last stat because we were talking about Doncic's 3-point percentage this whole time. As of a few days ago, he had the same career 3-point percentage as, wait for it, Draymond Green.
Who?
Draymond Green.
No, the first player.
Oh, Doncic. They have the
Okay.
same career 3-point percentage.
That's crazy.
I'll believe it.
Great.
Draymond's not that great at shooting threes.
Well, the thing
Pandemic
is
people, I
that
say.
I remember they talked about is that he the degree of difficulty on his threes because he takes so many step back threes. So
Yeah, that's true.
The degree
I apply
of
the same logic to Harden.
Yeah, like the degree of difficulty on a bunch of the 3-pointers he takes is like so much. So it's he doesn't take it's not as if he's taking a bunch of open catch and shoot threes and not making them. Like he's taking a bunch of the hardest shots.
Yeah, like he's not getting Klay Thompson looks. Like,
It's his 3rd year. He'll get there.
No. I mean, listen, he's done. He still does so much everything else well. Like there's no doubt. I mean,
He's on his way to the top soon.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, that was our all-star picks. We had some surprises. Zach decided he was insane. We had some, not so big surprises.
Pandemic P because of his shooting. His shooting. Did you not see his shooting when he bricked one off the side of the backboard?
Zach, we're talking about this season, not.
Yeah, we're talking about this season, Zach.
Bubble.
Anyways, one last thing about the All-Star game. Who do we think is going to be the biggest All-Star snub this season?
Pandemic P.
Ooh.
Sabonis or Brogdon?
Oh, they both gotta get. They've been playing too
If
well.
either of them doesn't make it, I will throw a rage.
I was good. Yeah, I would say that because they're both playing really well for you know what? I'm gonna go with a former Piston on this. Christian Wood. Christian Wood would be my biggest snub. I mean, listen, the Rockets have been playing really well recently. He's averaging 23, 10, shooting nearly 40% from 3 and almost 2 blocks a game. Like he's having a really, really good year.
Yeah, lots of love to Christian Wood. He's balling out for real.
I feel like Jeremy Grant's going to end up getting snubbed.
That's
He's
what I was
having
gonna
such a
say,
great
Simon.
season in
Yeah.
Detroit right now, but I don't think he's going to get the recognition for it because they're so bad this year.
Horrible.
But he's a most improved player candidate for sure.
Oh no, I would never have expected him to have the kind of year he's having. I mean, he's completely I was shocked with how well he had been. Not only has he been scoring a ton, he's been really efficient. Like it's not just he's taking a bunch of shots. It's like he's actually really he's really shown he's an all around scorer. Like
His efficiency matches
Oh,
what he was
sorry.
doing in Denver and Oklahoma City.
with nearly, with not nearly as many touches. Yeah.
Very small. Yeah, very smaller roles.
I'm actually going to change my answer from Sabonis and Brogdon. I have a sneaking suspicion Levine's not going to make it this year.
He has to.
I'm going to be pissed if he doesn't.
He has to. He's having such a good year.
I don't know. Like, you look at all the, and Christian Wood and Jaren Grant, like, they seem like, they've had solid years and stuff, but there are so many players in front of them that you don't think about that are like, yeah, they're better. So, yeah, I honestly don't think Christian Wood's going to be that close, even though he's balling out, but.
Here's one guy, and it may seem shocking to say this, but just because he hasn't put up quite the same numbers, would anyone consider the possibility that Ben Simmons doesn't make it?
Yeah, I believe it.
He's not going to.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I would probably be happy.
Have you seen the jokes about how he peaked his rookie year? Because that was like when he had his most points per game and best assists and stuff.
You mean is not actually his rookie year?
His sophomore
year? His sophomore rookie year where he beat Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. Okay.
I just can't believe that like anyone ever compared him to LeBron James. Like it blows my mind that like someone looked at him and was like, that guy's going to be the next LeBron James.
I mean, go ahead, Tom.
He should be playing power forward in a Draymond Green kind of role, where he's like your best front court passer and he can get you a bucket, like, in the paint. That way he doesn't have to be out on the 3-point line all the time.
Well, it's because the only thing he really can't do is shoot. I mean, he can do everything else. He can pass, he can rebound, he can defend like literally all 5 positions. He can score, and he can get into the paint whenever he really wants to. It's like just his inability to take a jump shot is just, it's holding him back so much because he can do everything else. And it's like, we look at a guy like Giannis. Obviously he's not a great shooter, but he at least tries. Like he'll take threes. Like he'll make you have to at least think about it. Ben doesn't. He doesn't care. He doesn't even try. And it's like just have the thought in the mind that you could shoot a 3. Just have the thought in there, at least to make them not to wall the paint off. Because I mean, listen, Philadelphia's been great. They're great defensively. Tobias Harris probably, he looks like he deserves possibly a spot on the All-Star bench.
I'd put him in over Ben Simmons.
That's a conversation. That's definitely it's a conversation. That's a conversation because Ben just hasn't been.
At least he can stretch the floor.
Yeah. And it's not like he hasn't been efficient. Like the guy's like shooting almost shooting like 40, 50, 40, 90 himself. Like, I mean, he's been really good. And because right now, obviously, I feel like anybody in the NBA would love to have Ben Simmons, but like, I don't think there was a question: is that are you keeping Embiid or are you keeping Ben if one of them gets traded? Well, right now, Embiid might be the MVP of the league, so like, I don't think that's a question now in any.
Yeah, Ben Simmons, honestly, like, if I could have like. I honestly wish he had been placed with someone like James Harden. I think if you put Ben Simmons with a guy like James Harden instead of Embiid, I think that is a real scary proposition. I think that's scarier than what the Brooklyn Nets are right now. And I'm just being honest. Like with some nice pieces with those 2 guys as your lead dudes, that's scary to me. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like Ben Simmons is so like he doesn't like. At the point guard position, he doesn't allow for the floor to be stretched as it should, especially with a roster that has. Don't they have Seth Curry?
Yeah.
With Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, who's their
Danny Green? Yeah,
okay.
Danny Green, Matisse.
But I'm just saying, like, with so many options to stretch the floor in their starting 5, and their point guard can't do that. Like, I just think that defeats a lot of what offense you could create around that. Like. As like Thomas was saying, if you put Ben Simmons at the 4, that might be a better fit. Even though he still can't stretch the floor, he's going to get points in the paint and he's going to get boards. But I don't know. I think that it's.
Sorry, Tyler.
No, I just think it's such a killer that he's a point guard and he can't even like stretch the floor because of his literal inability to shoot.
Yeah. I mean, give Philadelphia credit that they went out and they got guys like Danny Green and Seth Curry to like provide that shooting. So then that way, they could still space the floor. And not to mention Joel Embiid is hitting like over 40% of his threes. Like he's having a career year shooting the ball too. So, I mean, he's at least for a center, I mean, he's doing more than you could ever ask for in terms of, it being able to hit outside shots. But yeah, no, I mean, Simmons, it's just until he really at least, makes threes, even if he's never great at it, until he makes it part of his game, I just feel like there's always going to be that what if in terms of what he could really be as a player.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have the same hunger that Embiid does. They lost last year, and you could see it in Embiid that he was destroyed. How does he respond? Comes back and is having the best year of his career. How does Ben Simmons respond? He comes back and is having the worst year of his career, and he doesn't seem to have improved in the one area you guys say he sucks at. So I mean, he might just not have it. He might not have the juice.
And I had to double check Joel Embiid's 3-point percentage when Darren said that. He's shooting 42.5%. That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Like LeBron's never shot that high in his career.
Yeah. That's quite the center they have there in Philadelphia. Anyways, I don't mean to change the subject, but we have been talking about the NBA for the past half hour.
And there is something happening on Sunday.
I did promise us that we would talk about a game that's on Sunday. Yeah. Some people care about it,
Is the Pro Bowl? The Madden Pro Bowl? Is that what's happening?
Exactly, Zach. The Madden Pro Bowl. Who do you think should be the starting quarterback for the Madden Pro Bowl? No,
Marshawn Lynch.
All right. Anyways, actually, all seriousness. Okay. Super Bowl matchup. Chiefs, Bucks. Chiefs have the number 1 passing offense. Bucks have the 20th ranked passing defense. How do the Bucks win?
By sending a corona-ridden barber to take out Patrick Mahomes. That's how they win. It was all Tom Brady.
Is that your conspiracy theory?
An inside mission.
Hey, Tom Brady's playing chess, not checkers. Let me just say that.
Everyone always thought it was Bill Belichick. Turns out it was Tom Brady the whole time with Deflategate, Spygate, all Tom. And now we have COVID Gate. He tried to take out the best quarterback of a generation, and I'm sick. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Was it Dan Kilgore that was in that chair when they said the barber was that the barber was COVID positive? Is he the guy?
I remember his name was the backup center, whoever that is. But Kilgore sounds right.
Yeah, I think it was.
Kilgore. Yeah, it sounds like that's the right name.
Also, what kind of name is that? Kilgore? Golly.
Yeah, it was Dan Kilgore. That's hilarious.
Good football, but it's good football name.
But the Chiefs don't have their starting tackles for this game.
I was about to say the Chiefs' offensive line and the pressure that the Bucks put on them is going to be the big key. They put so much pressure on Rodgers in the last game. And that was definitely the reason they won. Without giving Rodgers all that pressure, Green Bay's in the Super Bowl.
Todd Bowles has been sending heat all playoffs long, and also players like Devin White and like Levante David have been getting in there, like making plays coming off the edge at linebacker and even in coverage. So I don't know. I think that the numbers say that the Bucks have the 20th best passing offense, but they might be a little better than the numbers say, I think, in my opinion.
Oh, that was 20th worst passing defense.
Oh, worst, whatever.
Yeah.
I think for me, I don't know. Like, no, you bring up a good point about, because I think the Bucks, I think the number is that they blitz on 40% of their defensive snaps, which is a ton. The thing is, though, there is no quarterback with a better QB rating against the blitz than Patrick Mahomes. If you are willing to leave Tyreek Hill on an island, you better get to Mahomes. Because if you do that and you're leaving Tyreek Hill in single coverage and you give Mahomes just a split second to get off a throw, you are like, remember what happened when they played the Bucks in the regular season? Tyreek Hill had
200 yards, over 200 yards.
Yeah, like how many yards even before halftime? I mean, that was they made that into a track meet from the opening jump.
Yeah,
so,
he saved me in fantasy that week, by the way. He dropped like 60 points.
But
hold on. But Darren, like you said, when they played in the regular season, but that game turned out to be a lot closer than it should have been.
No, it is. And that's a crap, because Tom Brady, for a 43-0 QB, is having as remarkable a season. This is the first time that he's thrown at least 40 touchdowns since he threw 50 in 2007 when the Patriots were undefeated going to the Super Bowl. Think about that. The first time since 2007, and he's practically 44 years old. How does that happen? Like
that's insane.
That's like I don't know. It's I don't know how to explain it. Like the guy is literally just an ageless marvel. But I feel like the Bucs, to me, I don't think defensively they're not bad. They are not, to me, though, the kind of defense that the San Francisco 49ers were in the Super Bowl last year when the Chiefs played them. And the thing was that the 49ers were up on they were up 20-10, and Jimmy Garoppolo, who was their quarterback, wasn't able to make the plays needed in order to keep the Chiefs down. Now, Brady, obviously, based on his history, is more than capable of making those plays. The guy's got 6 rings. There's no doubt about that. I mean, everyone said that if you need one drive, if you need one quarterback to lead a game-winning drive, probably most would go with Brady.
Yeah.
At the same time, even though Aaron Rodgers is going to win MVP this year, I look at what Patrick Mahomes is, I look at what the Chiefs offense is, and they've gone up against good teams. I mean, Buffalo was one of maybe the hottest team in the league going into their matchup with the Chiefs Chiefs 2 weeks ago, and the Chiefs pasted them. I mean, that was a no contest. I mean, they just went out and they just dominated. And the Bucs have had, they had a close game against the Washington football team. They were able to get by the Saints, and then it was a close game against the Packers. So they've had to grind their way to this, while the Chiefs have other than when Mahomes got hurt in the Cleveland game, pretty much has been persona non grata. So for me, I think it's going to be close. I really do think we're probably going to see what everyone wants to see, which is a quarterback duel between a man who is right now the best quarterback of all time versus a quarterback who in terms of where his career is headed could end up potentially being at one point the best quarterback of all time in Mahomes. Like, we're probably looking at the two guys who could end up finishing 1 and 2 in that conversation, 1A, 1B, because Brady's there, and Mahomes already has the ability. Like, if he were to retire tomorrow, he probably would already go in the Hall of Fame. That's how good he's been at this point. So
that's a hot take. That
I don't like that.
It's not hot. It's not hot.
I don't like that take, but
that's as cold as they come, Darren. You're 100% right, brother.
Before the age of 25, to have already won a Super Bowl MVP, a regular season MVP, a Super Bowl. I mean, it's that he's got a better resume than than the majority of the other starting QBs in this league have. So
Matthew Stafford.
All right, hey, come on, let's be nice here.
We'll get to that later, Zach.
Let's be nice.
Super Bowl talk right now.
But if I had to pick right now, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs, and I just think it's going to be. I think I know this saying's probably going to be already been used a ton and is going to be used a ton, but I really do think this is going to be the passing of the torch, and I think Brady, he will go down fighting as much as hard as he possibly can, but I think that this is the game where it's like he's probably gonna be willing to tell Mahomes at midfield at the game, it's like, I'm not done, but hey, it's your league now, it's your time. I've had mine. I've done all this in my career. It's your time. And I just think that Mahomes I think he's ready for that. I think it's going to be a great showing between the two. And I just think that the Chiefs are going to just be able to make a couple more plays. And I'll say 30-27. That's what I put as my final score prediction.
I'm going to say it right now. Buccaneers are going to win. Not by a lot. They're going to win by like a field goal. At tie game, fourth quarter, 2-minute warning, Tom Brady gets one last drive to win it all. That is my prediction. I think that this game is going to come down to if the Buccaneers defense can do anything to slow down the Chiefs. If they can't, it's going to be a blowout. But I do think that, Jason Pierre-Paul is having one of his best seasons of his career. Their entire pass, they have 194 QB pressures this season. And that's one of the best marks in the league. So if you're going to have a really great pass rush and they're missing so many offensive linemen, especially on the edge, you can get to Patrick Mahomes. I understand that Mahomes is the best quarterback under the blitz, but at the same time, it's still going to be under the blitz. You're going to have to double Tyreek Hill most of the game also. Let's not fool ourselves. You're going to need a safety over the top at all times. But I think that the Buccaneers defense can hold Mahomes in check enough to where they can set up a game-winning drive for Brady at the end of the game.
All right. Okay. How I sort of see it is, I think usually in football,
Zach, no bullying.
I'm just going through it all in my head.
Zach's just like
okay.
he's just like disgusted with your ideas, Tom.
Are you disgusted by the idea of
No,
Tom Brady beating Patrick Mahomes?
Man.
I'm not disgusted. I think Tom Brady's the best ever. I mean, that's a genuine. I don't think he will be when it's all said. Like, I don't think that Tom Brady is better than Patrick Mahomes, and I think that in football, usually the team that has the better coach and the better quarterback wins. I mean, that's how it's been forever. I imagine that's how it's going to continue to be. And I also look defensively. I mean, you could probably have arguments. I would venture to say that the Chiefs are a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball. I think they have the better quarterback. I think they have the better head coach, as much as I love Bruce Arians. As far as pass rushes go, as a guy who loves a team, that's like what we're known for. I know that the one way you can shut down a good pass rush is really, really great play design. And who does play design? The offensive play design, the best in the league, probably Andy Reid. And Andy Reid, who does the best play design in the league, just so happens to have the best quarterback in the league also. I honestly, despite the issues with their offensive line, I could see Andy Reid completely wiping that out. Maybe not so much in the first and second quarter, but as the game wears on, I don't think it'll be as big of a deal. That's just a prediction. It could be wrong. That's just how I see it. And like I said, defensively, I think the Chiefs are a little bit better. I think Tom Brady has better weapons, but Tom Brady is also 44, and he's not Patrick Mahomes. That's just sort of how I see it. I love Bruce Arians, but I don't necessarily love his offense. And I don't know if the way that the Bucs play, being run heavy, play action heavy, I don't know if that will be enough to keep up with what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will be bringing to this game. That's pretty much wraps up my thoughts. So as far as scores go, listen, Tom Brady can keep a game tight all the time. That doesn't necessarily, I think I could see 28-24. I don't think this is going to be like a 100-point scoring game. I think it's a Super Bowl. I think each team will bring their best. So 28-21, maybe 31-21, but that's the range of which I'm looking at.
I just realized I didn't give my prediction. I'm going Chiefs 35, Bucks 28. I think it'll be a one-score game.
Okay. I'm going to dig into this because I haven't gave my prediction yet. I'm just going to go over a couple things we haven't talked about. I'm going to let you guys know right now, though, I'm choosing the Bucks to win, but I'm kind of like contemplating it all in my head. I want personally the Bucks to win, so I'm going to pick the Bucks, but I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm just saying that's my pick. Anyways, one thing that is huge for the Bucks coming back this week is rookie Antoine Winfield. He's a safety. He was out against the Packers. He's a big piece in that defense, and I think he can try to help and keep someone we haven't talked about yet on the Chiefs to a minimal is Travis Kelce, because that guy is ridiculously good at tight end. He's almost like a wide receiver out there, just except he's way bigger and he's just as fast. But I mean, that guy's crazy. I every time I talk about the Chiefs, I just worry myself more because like they're so good at everything on offense, and I truly think that Patrick Mahomes is a robot, and I will continue to say that because his pocket presence is insane. I swear he has eyes in the back of his head. But I think that like the biggest part of the biggest key point of the game is the Bucks keeping the turnovers to a minimum and also trying to create a turnover on Kansas City in their offense. Like they have to have at least one turnover, I think, to get the win. I know Tom Brady's like 19-0 now when he has 2 turnovers in a game. So that's something to keep an eye out for. But I don't know. I'm going to say Bucks 30, Chiefs 27.
Nice. I did not give a prediction, so I'm going to do 31-28 Bucks. I do agree with you, Tyler. I think that the Buccaneers do need to force turnovers. That was a huge key to the Packers game. The Bucks scored 14 points off of the Packers 2 turnovers, and the Packers scored 6 points off of the Bucks 3. So being able to put points off of turnovers is going to be a very huge key to that game, and generating turnovers is going to be very important also.
One thing I will say about the turnovers is that you couldn't have a worse quarterback to be wishing for turnovers against than Patrick Mahomes. I think he had like 2 games. I mean, I know he had turnovers in more games, but like I think it was the game against I can't remember which game it was. He had a bunch, and that was like insane. Like for the most of the season, it was like he had 2 interceptions, and all of a sudden he threw 3 in one game.
Wasn't that against Oakland? Isn't that
Yeah,
like one of their only losses was against
yeah.
Oakland? He had a bunch of turnovers.
And then he had one other game, I think, where he had more than one. But the point being is that you're asking for a lot, like against Patrick Mahomes.
I'm aware. I'm aware I'm asking for a lot against Patrick Mahomes. I completely agree with that. I'm saying if the Bucks want to win, that's going to have to happen. Like they're going to have to find a way.
I mean, the Bucks are the 4th best team in forcing turnovers. 14% of their opponents' offensive drives end up ending in a turnover. So the Bucks have the capability to do it if any team does.
I also think that cohesion has a lot to do with it. As the Bucs season has progressed, you sort of seen them getting into doing a lot more of what Tom Brady did when he was in New England, and that's great and fine. But that offense is like really heavily, relied upon that the communication is perfect and that nothing goes wrong. And I think that his first year here had to do it in real time versus the Chiefs, who have been together for several years at this point. And, I think they're just going to be a lot more cohesive. I think they're going to be a lot better meshed as a team. So that also leads into my belief that they will win.
That offense also created a dynasty in New England, but we won't get into that.
No. The offense is great. It tortured me for years. That offense gave me nightmares as a Steelers fan for most of my life. It's not bad. I'm just saying every single thing in it needs to be perfect, from the offensive line to the running back to the routes the receivers run to Tom Brady throwing the ball. It's all got to be perfect. So, I mean, that's just hard to do. And
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, especially in the first year. That's all I mean.
All righty. So, speaking of Super Bowls, there's a team in LA that is trying to get back to the Super Bowl after they lost to Tom Brady 2 years ago. I almost called them the St. Louis Rams. The Los Angeles Rams have traded 2 first-round draft picks, a third-round draft pick, and Jared Goff to the Detroit Lions for Matt Stafford. Was it too much? Was it not enough? I think, Tyler, you had some hot takes on that.
Okay, so I think for the Rams, I think it's not as bad as everybody's making it out to seem, because I think that they already have a lot of the pieces that they need, and I don't think really they're in win now mode. They're not in the future mode, so I think that the draft picks don't essentially hurt them a lot. Plus, they got rid of Jared Goff's contract, which is good for them also, because that was way too big in the first place, which the Lions will take in, and I'm not even mad about, because that's just what we're known for, is, signing people for contracts that they don't even deserve. But as for the Lions, I think it's a complete win too, because we're not in win now mode. We're in rebuild mode. So the draft picks are going to do everything for us. And Jared Goff, even if he is there for, a year to the end of his contract up, he's just going to fill a spot that we're going to need to fill anyways, whether, we can bring in like a rookie or whatever to maybe, we'll look after Jared Goff, even though he might not add a lot to him, but whatever. But I'm happy for Stafford, man. I love that guy. I hope LA wins a Super Bowl with Stafford, because that would bring, that's the closest I'm going to get to the Lions ever winning a Super Bowl. And I'm just going to ride that out until, it actually happens, which I don't know if it ever will, but yeah. Also, Zach, put some respect on Matthew Stafford's
Which is
name.
why I wanted to jump in after Tyler to discuss this very thing. I know I give a lot of heat to Matthew Stafford. A lot of that has to do with the performance of the Lions over his career, and that's not necessarily all his fault. I will say this: if Matthew Stafford goes to Los Angeles and he wins a Super Bowl with the Rams, I will eat every word that I've ever spoken, and I think that it will change his legacy completely. I think if he wins a Super Bowl with the Lions, with an actual good team around him, I think you might be looking at him rising up the ranks all time like that. That's why I will say that. I think he's in a totally different position if he wins the Super Bowl.
And then, as the only other non-Lions fan here, I saw the trade. I think both sides got a good end of the deal. I don't think it was. Yeah, I obviously we'll see how it plays out. And those draft picks could end up being pretty consequential if they pick right. But
I thought
I think the Lions got a good haul back.
100%. I think the Lions did I love y'all's new coach, by the way. I think y'all have made incredible decisions this offseason. Campbell's a savage. The guy they hired to run that trade was so perfect because you have a guy who's not going to be around by the end of a new rebuild. You got a crap ton back for him. Good, nice picks. I think it was great for the Lions, and we'll see what happens with Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
When you look at it from the Rams side, yes, you're getting back a win now quarterback, but you don't have a first round draft pick until like 2023 or 2024.
Yeah, after like Biden's first term is already over.
So
that's insane.
The thing is, you have so many huge contracts on your roster already, and you're adding Staffords as well. You're not going to be able to keep a lot of your like key role players on the team, and that's going to hurt when you can't replace them in the draft with draft picks.
Yeah, but the thing is that, well, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but in football, the first round pick, especially if you're competing every year, it's not necessarily a do or die thing. They've drafted really well with later picks. And I think that's sort of the mindset that they're going forward with. That in football, first round picks, if you don't have it, it won't necessarily kill your draft. You can still have a good second, third, fourth day to get good talent. So I just think they're confident in that process.
I mean, I suppose, but you're also taking a risk when you're getting into that third day of drafting, and you're going to be losing, offensive line. Like Andrew Whitworth, he's not going to last forever. He's going to have to retire at some point. You're going to have to find a replacement for him, and you're not going to get one in free agency for cheap. So you're going to have to draft like a premier left tackle, and you're not going to have first round draft capital to do that.
Well, I think that they're trying. I think their mindset is give up whatever we need to give up to win now. I think they really want that Super Bowl. Especially because they just relocated to Los Angeles. I think that they really, 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 really are craving that Super Bowl because I think it would do a lot for them as a franchise.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think that it's, I'll agree with Carter. I think it's a win-win move because here's the one thing that this is the biggest thing. Because when you look at the biggest stars that the Lions have had, Barry Sanders, retired because of all the losing. Calvin Johnson, retired because of all the losing. And then also forced him to give back part of his signing bonus because of that. This is like the first time the Lions have been in a position where they've actually done they did right by Matthew Stafford. They put him in the position to where he's going to be under arguably the best coach he's ever played under. He's going to finally have a running game that averaged over 120 yards last year with the Rams. He has weapons he has weapons at receiver with guys like Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee. So he's got it there. If they re-sign it, if they bring Andrew Whitworth back, they have the makings of, at the very least, a decent enough offensive line. And defensively, they were number one in the league last year. And as long as you have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, you're going to have, the makings of what should be at the very least an above average defense. This is the best in terms of the all-around team situation. The Lions this is the best situation Matt Stafford has probably been in since 2014 when the Lions went 11-5 when they had like the second-rate defense in the league that year. I mean, there was probably not any more complete, and that team wasn't necessarily complete, but in terms of the all-around roster, that was probably the last time that he had something even comparable to what he has with the Rams now. And for the Lions, there were reports saying of how they could have got more help immediately this year. I know that a trade came out saying that the Carolina Panthers offered the number 8 pick that they had, which is right after the Lions obviously right after the Lions pick, and some more. So, but in terms of, they took the quantity, which, everyone, the main prediction was that the Lions would get at least 1 first-round pick. I saw that they got two, and then a 3rd-round pick this year, which isn't nothing. I mean, Kenny Golladay was a 3rd-round pick, so you can definitely find, real players in the 3rd round. And, Jared Goff, I mean, say what you want about the contract, but here's the thing. This is what NBA teams do all the time. They take on – teams that are rebuilding the NBA take on bad contracts ad nauseum to get better draft picks or to get draft capital back. So the Lions, they say, listen, we'll take the guy – and maybe he has a career resurgence, and if he doesn't, hey, it doesn't stop them from taking a QB either this draft or next year, and then finding out what he has later. So I just think it puts him in a really good position to rebuild and retool. And for Matthew Stafford, it's gonna be, he's still even at 33, he still has a lot of talent left in that arm, and I'm gonna be excited to see what Sean McVay can do with him in that offense.
I agree.
You guys think this is enough for the Rams to win the Super Bowl?
It should be on paper.
If Matthew Stafford, if he gets out of Matthew Stafford what we think he can considering his talent, I think Stafford could have like a sort of like Carson Palmer type revival like he had with the Arizona Cardinals. Because Carson Palmer arguably, once he got with Bruce Arians, played some of the best football of his career, and that was in his mid-30s. I think it could happen. I think it could be a similar situation where, you finally get with a good coach, a good offensive coach who knows how to utilize, the talent that you've always had. And if he's able to provide that for Stafford, they're at least going to be a threat. They'll definitely be a threat, and I would not be shocked if they get back to the Super Bowl.
I think that they have a 2 to 3 year gap to kind of hit the Super Bowl if they get there. If not, I think it's like a wash. But I think they can do it. I mean, McVay and Stafford are already on really good terms. They were both in Cabo and the trade happened. They literally met up that night and were having drinks together. So like they're ready to get this going. Like they're ready to try and show that they're going to be, some of the top dogs next year. So
yeah, not only in Cabo. I could remember. I think they were in the same resort. It's kind of weird how that happens, right? And the last thing I'll say is to any Lions fans: if you could give up your first-round picks for the next 5 years, which you were guaranteed, or you could get to a Super Bowl in those 5 years and have a good chance to win it, would you take the deal?
billion, like infinity times yes. I would not even have a second thought about it. I would say yes.
So, I mean, that's sort of my last thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Stafford's going to fit in really nicely. I mean, Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown, and Darrell Henderson, solid backfield. We'll see who emerges. I'm guessing it's going to be Akers, but combining that with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Matthew Stafford, I think that's going to be a formidable offense on top of the crazy defense they already have.
All right, gentlemen, it has reached that time. We are done. Any final statements about Matt Stafford and the Rams?
Nope.
Matthew Stafford, if you're listening to this, I love you.
Any final statements on the Super Bowl?
Man, that guy, he's down bad over there. Someone help him out, man. He's down bad.
Go Bucks. That's all I got to say.
Go Chiefs.
All right.
I just think we're going to get one hell of a game.
Anything to say about the courtside Karen?
Oh, no, we're good. Let's end this thing.
Okay, we're not going to bring up her. Okay, good. Because that's a whole can of worms we don't need to approach.
Not even worth the conversation.
It's funny, though. It's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah.
It is funny.
All right. That's all for our show today. Bye, everyone.
Peace.